All right, so I'm super excited to have my friend Meredith here with us today to give you a little bit of background. I've literally known her my whole life. We were in brownies together when we were
Yeah,
little kids. If that gives you any perspective. So just a couple
we don't
years.
need to talk about how long ago that was,
Yeah,
though.
just a couple. We're super young and spry. So it's funny because like when we're about the age-ish when like Facebook came out for college students when you had to have a college email. So not to really date ourselves, but like and so social
Oh,
media kind of blossomed in our 20s in our 20s basically. And so it's been really interesting to go from like nothing like social media when we were little kids to be able to connect with, I've been watching Meredith basically from afar for like 15 years
right.
now. Like we don't live in the same state, but I remember her from my childhood. I was so happy to like see her have a baby, like all of these amazing things. So I put out a call to my personal social media networks and I said, I'm looking for entrepreneurs to talk about this amazing world we live in. And she was like, hey, and I'm like, wow, I don't even know this. So I was before I hit record, I was talking and I was like, don't tell me everything yet because I want to be surprised and get excited about it when we're recording. So with that, I'm going to start super super easy for you. And so first, let's start. Just the easy peasy personal details. Who are you? Like personal life stuff. So tell us about yourself.
Like you said, hi, I'm Meredith. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I, I do still have a regular job. I'm working to get away from that. I'm a grocery manager for a Kroger store. You can kind of kiss my ass, but sorry for the language. I'm over them. I'm ready to, after having my son, I need to be home more. I want to be with my family. That's one of my driving forces. So I'm definitely an outdoorsy person living in Washington where I am. It's amazing. It's beautiful. The camping is unlike anything I've seen. We love to travel. And that's kind of been put on pause a little bit, but it's shifted into other things that we didn't normally do. So it's been fun discovering new ways to have fun and get out there.
That's awesome. So moving into like the professional realm, what are you awesome at? Like specifically, what do people pay you for in your new ventures?
People pay me a crazy amount of money to make custom vinyl decals and signs for them in woodwork. We make wood benches and wood signs mainly. Um,
And who's
I mean,
we?
everything's pretty, sorry, what?
Who's we?
We is my husband and I. It's actually the woodworking is a crossover interest that he and I both have. He's been a finished carpenter for the same company for 17 years. I actually grew up watching my dad in his shop, who happens to be a master craftsman luthier, guitar builder. So I've definitely another conversation, another time. Um, so I've definitely had a lot of really cool influence. I know with some of the places that I lived in Seattle before we bought our house a couple years ago, we didn't have the space to have the wood shop that we wanted to. So we do a couple small projects, but now that we have our house, we built a bench. We built a bench, and that's kind of what kicked off everything for us. We knew that it was something that we wanted to do. We didn't know what, we just wanted to have a business together. We wanted to build our own empire together. And that bench, I can walk you out the door and show it to you in a minute, but that's kind of what kicked off everything.
So you just said that you knew that you wanted to have a business, but you didn't know what. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like the urge to run your own life and your own business, or a hobby that you wanted to turn into a business?
We definitely, for us, I would say it was more, we knew kind of the direction. We wanted to work with wood. That was our initial thing. We didn't know what we wanted to do. We didn't have some of our shop even set up tool wise. I mean, you need a lot of stuff as far as tools go, and the right tools for the right jobs. We knew that we had the talent to create many things, but we just needed to figure out what we wanted to streamline out of our shop. We wanted something that we could assembly line. Like we're working on shipping. Shipping's kind of crazy right now, but we're definitely working on stuff that we can possibly ship as like a build your own kit, furniture wise. I know like going back to the wood signs too, those like we'll do wood round signs or kind of like the greeting signs for your door. They're crazy, they're hot. We're definitely adaptable though. We wanted to have a business where we wouldn't be stuck in one thing because markets come and go. Like there's things that are popular today, here today, gone tomorrow. So the adaptability was something that was important to us too when we were kind of mulling over ideas.
I love that. Like, I love that you're like a husband and wife team and you can sit down together and say, like, I want to do something bigger and more different with our lives. Like, what can we turn into together? Like that's like a different mindset than, like, I'm going to work at this big company. And not that that's bad. It's just, it's so different. It's a different mindset. I love that you found someone that you can have those conversations with because that's hard if you don't like connect on that
Right.
level.
I mean, it's incredibly important, even if you don't venture off and do a business with your partner, to have that support though too, and still to be able to have those type of conversations with them because you're still a team if you're if you're married with somebody, you'd like to think, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely communication's a big key. There's definitely with having our son, with me working retail and him still working in his construction business too, there's weeks where we don't see each other except for like one day because I work opposite schedules. So communication is just a big thing for us. We definitely have to keep working on it. We keep working, we keep evolving because times
So
change,
you
needs
both
change.
still have day jobs and you're building this business and you're doing your craft projects and you're raising your kids. Like, how do you like pre-plan your time or are you guys just kind of like, what are we gonna do today? What business are we gonna work on? How are we gonna do this? Like,
We
how do you juggle all of that?
we're fortunate to have Saturdays and Sundays like off together. But they're usually he's on a side job or I've got these orders I got to get done that I wasn't able to during the week. As far as doing stuff though, we try not to have a workload for our business that completely overwhelms us to where we're so backlogged. We're like, oh crap, like we have to stay and do these orders. If something comes up to do, we'll go do it. If we have a nice day off, we'll go run to the mountains and go camp for a night. Like we just, we're definitely open to the spontaneity of going and doing things. We're very lucky to know people with some very nice boats. So if they call, and they're like, hey, it's boat day, we're gone. We're going out on the sound. It's just, we're all about experiences and positive ones and good friends.
Wow. So before we talk about like the future and all of the possibilities here, which sounds amazing, um, tell me like your breaking point. Like, were you like it working retail one day and you were like, I can't do this forever? Like, what was the push that made you say no more?
The fact, the base bottom line, I was thinking more about that since the first conversation we had about that. It's when I solidly realized, like I kind of knew the idea was floating there that my job was tied to benefits, but like realizing like I'm so stuck in this job because my husband's job doesn't have benefits, but he pays more. Like what, why am I stuck in this job where we're just a number? I know that's a strong word, but I hate that. I hate being just a number to somebody. I know some of the immediate coworkers, they've definitely turned out to be like family, but at the end of the day, we're a dime a dozen. And it's not meaningful to a lot of people, the work we do. There's so much stories that come through with the projects and stuff that we make with our business for these people, or projects orders, I should have said. Everything has a story behind it. It's important, it has meaning. So it definitely um it's very inspiring, the work that we do. My mom actually worded, she's like, you're like, I whatever your belief is, whatever higher power, but she's like, you're their messenger for these people. Like you're there to give them voice to their dreams and their visions and things that they want. And I was like, that's a really neat way to think about it.
I love that so much. And This was an interesting interview because remember when we were first scheduling this, I said, generally I'm trying to interview like very seasoned entrepreneurs and talk about like, the tenacity and the resilience of the whole experience. But seeing as you're kind of in the beginning stages and you're like almost ready and you're building and you're, trying to let go of that previous life, usually I would ask the next question is, what would you tell yourself then that you know now? So let's do the opposite of that. Where in a perfect world, where would you see yourself, let's say 5 years from now?
5 years from now, we'll actually be at a point to where we could probably move if we wanted to. My husband could, he's very conservative with money. I mean, like we're okay financially, but it's definitely a solid worry based on some past with him. We'd be at a point financially with the income flow from our business to where he'd be comfortable just working from home with me. Like we'd be able to just do this full time. We'd be able to, we'd have our kits ready so we could just mail them to anybody for our benches that we make. We'd be able to have a website up and running to where, like right now we don't, because the order thing kind of is intimidating. We're such a small outfit, and with working our 2 jobs still on the tails end of those, where we don't want to get overwhelmed. We don't want to overpromise and under deliver to our clients ever. We just want to be in a position to where they're knocking down our door for our business more than they already are. It's been good. It's been way more busy than we expected it to be, which is a blessing. I mean, it's very cool. It's kind of like pat on the back too, because sometimes you think, oh, hey, I might be good at this, or I might be the person to do this for people. But when people are actually seeking you out and you see people dropping your name for referrals all over the place that you haven't asked for, that's really cool. That means like you did a good job. You definitely made them happy. And that's fun. It's fun making people happy. I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, happy people are a happy world.
What would you say to someone who has like a talent that thinks to themselves, like, I could never monetize my hobby. I could never monetize my creative skill. And they kind of put their head down and think that they have to get a corporate job.
I think it's definitely something to look inside and say, will you lose that spark of joy if it turns into a job for you? Because it can lead to burnout for a lot of people. We've seen that happen. I know, like for me personally, from like the vinyl side, how I got to there, I had actually made a pair of earrings. Is how that started. I got this CNC cutter machine. And I was like, awesome, I can finally start doing these things that I want to do. I didn't like making them. I mean, I would if people wanted orders. They were very, very pretty. There was all kinds of compliments. People were buying them, but it just, for the time and the return and stuff, it was just it wasn't as relaxing as it should be for me. If I'm doing a job where I'm paying myself, I want to be relaxed. Like there's definitely going to be some stressful things. There's stress in anything. But at the end of the day, I think it's important to remember you need to be able to relax. You need to be in a zone where you're happy, where you're comfortable, where you're not guided by stress, I guess might be the way to put it.
Yeah, and here's like the parallel that's actually super relevant to everyone is a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time niching down their audience and like productizing what they want to offer, because especially in the beginning, like I'm a 1-year-old entrepreneur and you're still, in the beginning stages yourself. It's like when I very first started, I was like, what do you need? I'll do anything. And you're talking about like, okay, so you have some tools and all of a sudden people are asking you to do things that, isn't your favorite. And then your hobby turns into a chore. The parallel to that is just thinking about like niching down so much and then niche some more and then niche some more after that. Because if you are speaking to like this audience, then this audience is going to ask for this thing and it's all going to make sense. Because I think one of the biggest struggles entrepreneurs have is imposter syndrome. And we're all sitting around like, why would anyone buy this from me? You know, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. But if you're your truest self and you're talking about the things that you enjoy and you're telling your stories about it, then that's going to speak to the right people. And the people who don't connect with your message aren't your customer. You know what I
Well, and
mean?
along with that too, I mean, people buy you before they buy your product. If it's something where you have that interaction with them, if
Hmm.
it's not like your stuff's in a store and they're just seeing your product and you're trying to sell it, they buy you before they buy the product.
Oh yeah, I love like. Do you ever like walk through a store, any kind of store, food, clothes, whatever, and you're just like, this is a really cool package. You know, like you get excited about like the way it's presented and like does that vibe with like my humor and my personality, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna spend more money on this because it's funny.
Yeah. Or it fits. I mean, it's like I need that in my life. Oh, that
Yeah.
like I'm like a squirrel. I'll be like, ooh, that's so sparkly. I,
And the people who don't like sparkles probably aren't your customers.
that's
Love
a fair point.
so where do people find you? So I mean, I know that you've talked about you don't have a website yet. It's all been word of mouth and you're trying to focus on the things that you really enjoy doing. So being as specific as possible, what is like your ideal like product that you like have a passion for giving, and how can someone find you to browse and perhaps see like what you've done?
The easiest way to find us, we've got Instagram and Facebook, and we're under Kessack. We took our last name and put craft with it. So Kessaccraft. Uh, we're definitely not super tech savvy, but we like to share the work that we've done. So that is up
Cool.
and running on those pages.
When I share this, I'll include your social links like on the episode and on the social media post so people can just click and look at your picture. So love that. Keep sharing pictures. And if it's okay with you, how about I pause this recording for a hot minute and you can like
Sure.
grab your computer and like run outside and we can see something. That would be really cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And hitting okay, so I just hit play on the recording again and I missed it. You you missed my
Okay.
reaction. I was like, "Oh my God, you made
Yeah, you did.
that?"
We
um,
get that from a lot of people though. They're just like, wow. There's another bench over here that we're actually giving this to somebody, but this one is another style that we made. Let's see, can you see that?
oh my gosh. That's so beautiful. That's almost like that reminds me of like you know how people will like pay an arm and a leg to go to those like Amish stores because
Yeah,
they're expensive but like they're made really well so they
and they're
last.
gonna last forever. Yeah, yeah, they're definitely. I mean, those benches, they're not going anywhere. The ones that we make, they're sturdy just like that. Then I brought out like this sign too. This was one that I hand painted. I created the stencil myself for. So I do things like this, like these wood rounds.
Oh my gosh, that's
I mean,
gorgeous.
like the work we do, it's kind of like what I said, it speaks for itself and people see it and then they're like, ooh, how do I get one?
Yeah.
We've been very fortunate to pair up a couple talented people, I guess.
Yeah. That's super amazing. Thank you for showing us.
Of course, yeah.
That is so cool. So when you say like vinyl signs, do you like print like the pattern and then lay it on top? I don't really understand.
So they're vinyl, like the sticker, like vinyls.
Mm.
You know how I can send you some pictures later of work that's been installed because all I have is pictures of like pictures of things with the transfer paper on them or the whatnot. Like I've got this one gal right now. She wanted to turn her car. Sorry, I'm just taking you on a tour of my house here.
You're
She wanted to turn her car into Speed Racer. So we're doing some decals for her door
Gosh.
and the front of that. And then Like
I'm
this
gonna
other order that I've got,
I'm gonna sing that song all day. Go.
Go Speed Racer, go, go. Like the stories behind stuff. I've got this canvas that's about to go out the door here. This was a saying somebody made. I've been doing a lot of these canvas orders too, which I like because I like to paint. I don't know if you can see that.
You're better than cubed cheese, and cubed cheese is great.
That was a saying that somebody very close to them had passed away, but they used to say that to them all the time. So I get to help these people. It's not always sad stories, but it definitely helps people.
Yeah. Amazing. That's so cool. Yeah, I would love to. So when we share this, like I said, I'm going to share your Instagram, and like the more pictures on your Instagram of like not just the products, but like the journey and the stories behind it. We would love to see that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Um, Very, very cool. So thank you so
Yeah,
much for doing this with me. I'm going to hit stop on the recording, and we're going
sure.
to keep chatting. But like, thank you, everybody. I hope you really enjoyed this.
Absolutely.